Okay, welcome there, lads. We'll get going there. We'll just do a brief introduction first on the bits that we need. So, if I just look in here to this little slide first, it is just a list of things if you ever want to go back and check it. So, we've a bunch of hardware and we've a bunch of software. The software is the computer program that you use on the day of the event. The hardware is all the little bits and pieces that you need, like the beacons and the SIAC chips and the whole lot. That's all the hardware there. I'll go through those with you in a second. The software, which we'll go through in detail a little bit later, are those two things there. There's a guy called SciTiming, he's on the club laptop, and there's this guy called Sport Ident Config. You don't use this guy much. This is the main guy that you use for kind of running the event on the day. This guy is just used to synchronize the software. So the list of, or sorry, synchronize the hardware. So the list of stuff that we need from a hardware point of view is all this stuff here. So obviously the club laptop, which I'm working on here, and then we have our start and finish beacons or chips and the whole lot. So I'll just go through those briefly with you now, so you'll have an idea as we go through the rest of the stuff. So it's this stuff over here, and we'll just enlarge it here. The quality isn't the best in the world, but we'll manage. Now I'll just walk around the other side, try not to knock the camera. So I'll just go through the bits and pieces with you. So we have our start and finish beacons if you're running an enduro or a downhill. So we have three pairs of those. There's a start guy. Okay, so he's a start beacon and it says start stage 1. And you can see it says 101 there and that. That'll be important a little bit later. So he'd be on the beacon as you ride by at the start of an enduro stage. This guy is the finish beacon. And you can see that says finish, stage 1 finish, and he's number 102. And that'll be a little important a little bit later. This guy here on the back, you open that up, that's a charging port there or a communication port. And when you turn them on, I'll show you later, you use a magnet and this guy lights up. When we go back to our stage start guy, again, when you want to sync the time in it, this guy at the bottom here opens up and that's your data cable connection point there and your charging point at the bottom of him. And again, you'll use a magnet on the side here to turn him on and off. So we have three pairs of those. We've stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And when you go to stage 2, you'll notice it'll say start stage 2, but this time it's 103. And then finish stage 2, pick up the second one. Finish stage 1, stage 2 is 104, and so on. So stage 3 is 105 and 106. So if you were doing an enduro with 3 stages, you'd have start and finish stage 1, start and finish stage 2, start and finish stage 3. If you just wanted to do 2 stages, then start and finish stage 1, start and finish stage 2. If you were doing a downhill, all you'd have would be a start and a finish. If you were doing an XC race, like the non-race, all you use there is just the finish beacon. You don't have any start beacon. You just use this, and I'll show you later when we're doing it how that works. The range for these guys, officially for this, is 1.8 meters. So if you're wearing the chip on your arm or your wrist and you're outside 1.8 meters, this guy won't pick you up. So that's why they normally make the start gate in the enduros quite narrow for you to cycle through, so your SIAC will pick it up. The range for this sends out a beep about up to 3 meters, it says. So we were able to do that with the non-race. We were able to have nice 3 meter wide start line. Now, the other bits and pieces, you have your SIAC chips, these guys that the competitors wear on their arms. Okay, we have 35 of those. I think only 34 are working. So we all know what they are. They go on our wrists, no problem. So when the competitor is riding, that goes on the wrist. The other bits and pieces here that we have then, we have this guy called a mini reader. We have 2 of these. I've only ever used one. It's called a mini reader. And that's when you're dishing out the SIAC to the competitors at the start of the race and you register them. They chip in here, or you chip them in, and then you hand it to the competitor. When they come back after the race is over, they hand it back to you, you chip into the mini reader, and it downloads information off of it. There are a pair of those. Then there's this guy. He's the SIAC on test. Okay. So normally what happens is when you hand this guy to the competitor, they should wave this over that to make sure that this guy is working. And if this guy doesn't beep, then there's a problem. So that's not beeping at the moment because he's not turned on. So I'm just going to turn him on. You can just dip a SIAC into that to turn it on. And what we find now is, so if I hand this guy to the competitor, there we go. You can hear he's beeping now. Okay. So normally the first one that you hand out, if you just tip it into that, it turns this guy on. To turn off a SIAC, there's another one here. SIAC off. It looks like the menu reader, or the menu says SIAC off. And if you want to turn your SIAC off, you just dip him into that. And he'll turn off now. So now if I wave him over, the test fella, he's gone off. But normally with the software, when you set it up for a race, as soon as a competitor hands you one of these back, I normally have it set up so that when I put it into the mini reader, it downloads information and it turns it off and it clears it at the same time. So you shouldn't have to do it, but if you need to, that's what you do. And there's also a clear guide. Okay, so that clears all the data off of SIAC, either before a race or at the end of the race. When I was doing the non-races, as soon as the competitor handed me this back at the end of the race, I chipped him out using the mini reader. And once it read and I knew it read, I just went straight into the clear, and that cleared it for me. So I knew it was clear then before the start of the race the next time. Once or twice, when I put it in, if I hadn't cleared it the week before and I had put it into the mini reader here, it would tell me that the card wasn't cleared. So then I just got this guy and I went to clear, and it cleared it, and then I was able to use it. Okay. The last guy there then on these ones is the battery test. So this, we can use this to test these guys. So we just pop that in there, and that this gives us a readout. I'm not sure if you can read it there. Same, there's loads of power left in that yet. Okay. So that's those guys. We've 6 of these purple guys with white on the end. They are magnets for turning on these guys. Now we can't lose these, because if we lose these and we're running an enduro, somebody who'll be at a start beacon won't be able to turn it on, or at a finish beacon someone won't be able to turn it on. So when we're turning these on, or when we're turning the beacons on, the finish guys and the start guys, if you have a person at the start stage 1 and a person at the finish of stage 2, and if they're staying there for the day, they need to carry this guy, turn each of those on and off. All they are really is a magnet, and they work very simply. Just show you there now. You must place it on, you'll see this little bit here, the IO bit. Just pop in there. Now he's on, you can see. It's telling you that's station 102, it even says it here. And then to turn it off, you just place the magnet, but you have to hold the magnet on it for 5 seconds. You'll see it's counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. And I think that's a kind of a fail-safe thing in case we pop up next to it. So it's really important that we don't lose those. Okay, so there are 6 of those. All right, 6 of those guys. And then there's this purpley one on his own. He's what they call a service on off. Okay, and he is, as far as I know, for turning on and off things like the SIAC test if you need to turn them on and off. So you can actually pop him in there and he'll turn that on, or you can pop it in and you turn it off and so on. So he's up there. So I didn't use that much, really. Okay. Now we also have over here the printer that we use at the non-race. I have my own little inverter for the van, so if somebody in the club is using that, they're going to have an inverter to use that. There is also this guy, which is a charging port, so that plugs into the wall. Okay, so let's plug on him, and at the other end there are 6 USB cables, so you can plug this into the wall and you can charge up all of your start and finish beacons the night before a race, so you can have them all charging up. I normally take one of them off, which I use for syncing the start and finish beacons, which I'll show you later. So I have those charged up. They're on 90% charge or 95 still, and we've used them since the start of March. So these guys seem to last for ages. But you can check them anyway when you connect them, which I'll show you later. And we also have our poles for the finish beacons. So that's for standing those guys up. Okay. For the start beacons, I just used whatchamacallit for those